Hi, Mike Kennedy, M005 Kennedy with you today, and what have we got? We have got an FR cut pack developing tank. This is for developing sheet film. Now, why do I have this? I have this because I had a Speed Graphic once. Believe it or not, they made a Speed Graphic, which was a press camera that took sheet film, and instead of a 4x5 size or a roll film size, they had a 3x4, which was a very odd size. And even back many years ago when I purchased it, the only film you could get was Kodak Tri-X, or at least easily. What was good about this camera was too that they had a pack film for it. In other words, there was this instead of a sheet film holder, it was much thicker, and you got this pack of film you put in it, and you could take this out and take like I forget whether it was 10 or 16 sheets of film were in that pack, so you didn't have to keep reloading sheet film. And one of the big advantages I found out about it was, compared to you have to be awfully clean when you're doing sheet film. If you get a speck of dust on your sheet film when you're loading a sheet film holder, well, that shows up as a clear spot on your negative because no film got there. So when you print it, you get black spots. So these pinholes are very much a problem with sheet film. Well, having the pack solved that for me. But anyway, so I kept this, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with it. But let's discuss how this would be used. This has adjustable both sides are adjustable, but this has different adjustments in it, you can see, depending on the size sheet film. In other words, if I was doing 2.5 by 3 1/4 or whatever it is, I could actually, oops, gotta put that in right. I could actually put it down to this width. That looks narrower than that, but this is just an example. And you could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It can develop 12 sheets of film at once. And I believe if we put it out to the furthest, that it's 4x5. Now we also have, this would rest on top of the film to kind of keep it seated. And we have this little, and you know, I forget what this piece is for. I'm going to have to get the directions for this. But we have, what I want to say to you here is, we have, oh, this is for loading. Now I remember. See, you could put the sheet of film in through it and load it into there. That way, you're not loading it cockeyed, which would bend the film, or you might get two films on one end and only one film on another. So that's what this is for. It's interesting how you remember things. There are nubs sticking up here, which could help you guide doing this even in the dark. It would be easy to go through, load them all up, and then this is after they're loaded. You would put this down to hold them in place. And then this is a baffle system. And why do you need a baffle system? Well, you need a baffle system so that you've done this all in the dark. Now you can turn your lights on. Now you can turn your lights on, you know, put your developers in there, you develop, pour it out, you know, do rotations or whatever you want to do as far as agitating it. You'd put, you know, most normally you would have your developer, your stop bath, your fixer, then you take it out and wash it. So, not having a sheet film camera, what can I do with this now? Well, what I can do with it is, I can get around to finally making my pinhole camera. I can make it 4x5 size, and whether I use sheet film or I use paper, I can develop it right in this tank. So I could shoot 12 shots if I bring a dark bag with me, I could reload my camera in the field, and then I could come home and develop 12 all at once. Now, I guess I was going to go into pinhole cameras, but I don't think I will. I'll save that for when we actually do that. But I just wanted to show you this nifty piece of technology. This is that Bakelite material. It's pretty rugged. I mean, and even if this cracks, which I think I had a crack in it, I think I can even see it. One of them I had a crack, and I just put some super glue in there, and that was the end of the crack forever. But I would imagine that you could pick this up really inexpensively if you could find one. And like I say, you could develop 4x5 pieces of black and white photographic paper in them. You could do color too, but that's a whole host of temperature control issues. But yeah, you could do that too. You could do E6 slides in this, for crying out loud, if you were dedicated to that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do make a 4x5 pinhole camera, and I'll first probably use sheets of paper, because you use a sheet of paper. Well, again, there I go. I'm not going to do that. We're sticking with the FR Corporation in New York, cut film and pack developing, and that's why I mentioned the pack film from the camera. You would kind of, the films would be all kind of attached by a piece of paper, and you would separate the films and you would put them in there. So that's the story with that. So we're going to be looking at a lot of photo technology coming up, old and new. Probably concentrate a little more on the old than the new, because everybody's doing the new. And you know, what's happening now is we're having a number of people that have become dissatisfied with a digital-only approach. I'm not saying they still don't use digital, but they've become dissatisfied with digital for different reasons, and have returned at least partially to film. Now this may mean they use film in the camera, then they scan it in to make it digital, or they just go the whole way with the darkroom and everything till they get to a print. You could use, they have reversal black and white paper. I could put reversal paper in my pinhole camera and develop it and have finished prints from this and skip any negative stage. But there just seems to be a number of people who want to return to the craft of film photography, but also a number of people that are just kind of disappointed with some of the things about digital. I mean, digital is quick, it's easy, but there's just something about film that you can't compare digital to, I think. And that's why a lot of people have gone back to using film for certain projects. And some people even have gone back to doing weddings film only. So that's different. So this is one of the means by which you can develop sheet film easily. You can, once you get it in the tank, you're working all in the daylight. It's not like you're shuffling sheet film in a tray. They do have some tube arrangements to process 4x5 sheet film, but this by far I think is one of your easiest and inexpensive methods of doing it. Yeah, you can just use a tray, but that's a lot of work and a lot to keep track of. This is nice because you get back in the daylight and you can time things, see what you're doing, and we'll be using it. So this is Mike Kennedy, and with some older technology that is still perfectly applicable today. Have a good day.